You'll find the majority of older people, when they go to the hospital, they are not screened in the first place. They are told this is about age. When you want to go home, you always go to the shop, you buy what you think your mother or your father want. You don't ask them, you don't see the need of asking, what do you want? Older people have the right to like or hate. One I know is that the best has been done is the new Constitution of Kenya 2010, because it has the Article 57, which speaks about the older people and their rights. My name is Mwega. I'm the founder and the CEO of Karika. Karika is an acronym that stands for Kenyan Aged People Require Information, Knowledge and Advancement. This is an organization we started in the year 2003 with a mission to inform, educate and promote policies and practices that improve the quality of life of older persons. We are based here in Dagoretti, Riruta Setrate. That is where we have our offices. We are also in 21 counties of Kenya, and our major goal is to see a community where older people age gracefully and also enjoy their life and dignity. For this to happen, we have to educate our people, we create awareness, and also push for the policies, laws that would govern the respect to the older people. The reason why I started this organization is because I found that God created us and He showed us the way to lead our life. The fact that when He created man, He wanted to create a happy man. At one point He noticed that man was not happy. That costed Him another time to go and create the woman for man to be happy. After getting the man happy, He rewarded with a child. And then He commissioned, go and fill the world. Now, I started thinking on that area. And I remember when we were in school, whoever could be number one in whatever activity were rewarded. I noticed that whoever does good must be rewarded. And for me to confirm this, then I had to come from somewhere else. That is why I'm coming about where I came from, my background. I lost my father when I was very young, and my uncles disinherited my mom, taking almost everything that my father had acquired. As a result, my mother developed health complications, and later she also passed over. Because of the death of my father, I could not concentrate with my school, but later some teachers took me and they paid for my education. These teachers, I don't know them today, but they gave me the gift of life now because I can speak. I felt good and I said, I have to repay back the teachers. How do we age in our country? Are we accepted in the society? And if ever we are accepted, In which way? Is it enough? Why I say this? Our parents who seriously fought for our freedom, and they managed to chase out the whites, then we can enjoy the freedom we have. Did we reward them? To me, they are not yet rewarded. And many of them have passed away. And that tells me anyone young who has not yet rewarded older people who fought for our freedom is indebted. No matter how strong Christian you are, no matter how healthy you are and strong, no matter the position you are in, if you have not paid your rewarded the best people who gave you the freedom you are enjoying, then you are indebted. As a result, I thought it's good to fight for their rights. During my time of going to Sunday schools, I found a very common verse in the Bible which was all the time read to us. This is Ephesians chapter 6, that it says, "Ye children, obey your parents. This is the first commandment with a promise." So now I started thinking, why are we taught of 10 commandments and there is another one here which is number 1 and has a promise? I thought it's good to address that one, number 1. Even if I am not able to fulfill the others, but this number 1 and it has a promise is the best for me. So that I live longer and I have wellness with me. Therefore, I base my work on those 3 areas and the experience I got from the government employment. And I opted to resign the work, go back to school, do my community studies, and after that is when I came to form Karika. The name Karika came as a result of the research I did in Nairobi, Kibra, Korogocho, Mathare, Kawangware, going to the older people's households, looking at how they age within the slums of Nairobi. When they wake up, how much do they require to have a breakfast? When the lunch comes, how much do they require? Then in the evening, the same. That one gave me now the knowledge that they require, other people require information because they did not know what the government is doing about them. And of course, they did not even understand the so-called National Social Security Fund does not address them. I don't know how it can qualify to be a national fund and it is not involving everyone. The same case to the National Hospital Insurance Fund. Those are the background of my thinking on how to start this work. Then looking at our society and the activities they do, I found that everybody in the organization was focusing for children or either women and youth. The fattest frog that was not addressed is the older people. Then that is why I'm there. And the process of registering, I didn't go for those hard things to do. I just registered as a self-help group.
And then you've registered?
Yes.
But now you need a location or a venue to conduct the activities.
Thank you. Yes, when I did, after doing my research and confirming there is need, I thought it's good to come to where I live in. This is now where we are in Liruta. And I thought it's good to give a name that people would go well with. That is how I came up also with the Karika. And I did not have any older person in my mind like I could start with, but just as normal way people come together and they form organizations, I called for young people like we by then, and we mobilized about 63 of them. These people, when they came, I sold the idea, but they took it well, and we could meet every Wednesday at 4.
63 young people. 63.
Yes, 63 young people. Why young people? Is because I wanted to have access to the older people, but I knew I did not have energy to do that, so I called the team. Then I sold the idea of contributing 50 shillings every Wednesday. We could go to the shop and buy foodstuffs and then visit an older person. That is how we started off. But the worst came because, as usual, when people come together, they don't stay long. And especially our society, they only give where they think they will get back. Therefore, the same first year, that was 2003, we started in January, and towards July, August, many of them started dropping out. Come December, we were only 7 of us. People had withdrawn because they say, I'm only giving and I'm not receiving anything. So they were all tired, and actually even the 7 ones, we only went like 1 year, less than 1 year, and they dropped, apart from 1 only. But even before they dropped, we had a lot of conflict of interest, people fighting, even taking me for cases with the DO, the DC, and that did not stop me because I knew what I wanted to get. We had a lot of formation conflicts, and those did not stop me. So when I started Karika, we had nowhere to work in. I could rent a space, and I did renting for a bit from 2003 to 2013. All that period of time I was renting a space. But come 2011, the government had already started now the cash transfer floating to all the locations. And having been on the ground, and I was a champion of the cash transfer, people used to know me, and they knew I am pushing for it. And they could come in large numbers to see me, thinking that I am the one registering them for the benefiting of cash transfer. Therefore, in a day I could address about 1,000 older people within this location. People coming from different counties coming for cash transfer to me. And as a result, the owner of the land that I was using became a bit furious. I wanted a lot of money that I didn't have. And then they were having some land issues, conflict within the family. Therefore, I started seeing disagreement with the family. And I wrote to the DC area, this area, and the member of parliament, and I told them, you have seen what I'm doing, and I am struggling with the rents, so please look for a piece of land you can give me. And that is 2012. And they come 2013, around August, they gave me this piece of land. And I'm very grateful to the leadership of this. They told me, go and demonstrate what you are doing. I'm happy, now I'm here. This place was a swampy, it's still a swampy, but we have to work hard to make it the way you have seen it. Though we started as a self-help group, we promoted it into a community based in the year 2010. Today, we are learning Karika Kenya. Not Karika Self-Help Group, not Karika CBO, it's Karika Kenya. How? We cannot remain in a small space, and my vision is to see a voice of older persons, national voice of older persons. But also, much as we do the national, we have to have our older people from different locations. How we do it is that we go to a certain location, we mobilize groups of older people, we train them on group dynamics, and also we lead them on to our vision, so that at least we don't lose the vision. But we leave them to manage themselves, and later we come up with ways of supporting whatever they are doing. Like now here in Dagoretti, North and South, we have 53 older people organizations which are already registered with the government, but they are all affiliated to Karika. So what brings us together is that we are the people who mobilized them. Then we trained them on how to elect one another, and also we support them in terms of group dynamics, how they organize themselves, how they lead the group, and even how they engage each and every member with at least income generating activity. Then along the line, we train them on human rights of older persons, and we give them the voice to speak about the rights of the older persons.
How many members do you have currently?
Here in Dagoretti, I think we have 3,752. But at the national level, we may have 600,000 registered members with the Karika.
With access to so many, such a large number of old people, when the government is rolling out programs like during COVID to help old people, do they get in touch with you?
I would say we enjoy the partnership with the government more so with from the county. No, I should start from the local leadership to the county to the national, and especially on the national level, we are too much on the Minister of Labor and the Minister of Health, because those two matters very much. But also we try to involve like Ministry of Transport, actually looking at the ministries that matter to the issues of older people. Minister of Education as well.
So what are these, in terms of old people, what are the key issues that are always being addressed? The ones that have been addressed, the ones that are still being addressed, and the ones that have been ignored.
Thank you. One I know is that the best has been done is the new Constitution of Kenya 2010, because it has the Article 57, which speaks about the older people and their rights. That is a very good step. Number two, I know within the Ministry of Labor, they formulated a policy, aging policy, national policy on aging, and also guidelines as to the institutions or the institutions of older persons. Those are some milestones that I can say they are there. The other thing is that the latest former President Uhuru ratified the African Protocol on the rights of older persons. That is a step. I should say the country is moving. The other thing is that I am very much aware that there is the UN open-ended working group on aging, where the countries or the member states are supposed to report to the UN in every 1 year. This I can attest that I have witnessed the Kenya government reporting every year about what they are doing for the older people. Those are very positive steps that they have done. When it comes to the negatives or the challenges, I should say that we are missing an act of parliament that should protect the rights of older people. And it is very unfortunate that we have already an act of parliament protecting the rights of children, the women, and the people with a disability. And you asked me well about the Gender Equality Commission. They have been pushing very much for people with a disability and very slowly about the rights of older people. I know we have been part and parcel pushing them at least to come up with a bill, and they have participated in formulating, but also I see the weakness from the side of parliamentarians, where they always drop And this tells me maybe there is no political goodwill about the rights of older people. We should have a national body that focuses on the rights of older people in disregard of where you come from. Yes.
What are some of the rights of older people?
I like it. 1, right to autonomy. What is autonomy? My God-given right. What is my God-given right? I am free to think what I want so long as it is not affecting anybody. I am given a right by God to decide what I want so long as I'm not against the law. This one is very key to me because you'll find a lot of people giving the older people what they think they want, but not what they ask the older people want. And this is across the generations because, and all the tribes, because you'll find that even you yourself, when you want to go home, you always go to the shop, you buy what you think your mother or your father want. You don't ask them, you don't see the need of asking, what do you want? Older people have the right to like or hate. Like now, for example, you buy them shoes. You think this is the one that fits my mom or my father, and you don't ask about which color they want, which version they want. Isn't that not an abuse? I'm saying the rights of older people are the same rights that young people have, only that I don't know why we call them older people's rights. We should be our rights. You're looking at the United Nations, they have the human rights, and when we come to the country, we have our constitution, which stipulates the rights of the citizenry, and these rights also incorporate the right of movement, education, right to food, adequate shelter, and anything. You'll find the majority of our older people, because of economic status, they did not acquire a piece of land or properties, and you find them living in slums, like what I did during my research. Poverty gets them tough. They have the right to bear children, to bring them up, but they don't have source of income. It's the duty of the state to enable its citizenry to have income security. And you'll find in Kenya, majority of older people do not have income security. So when it comes to abuses, I already told you it could be put into 4 or 5 terms of abuses. One should be financial abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, and it could be another, I may not know how to put it, but these are the key abuses that happen within our society.
Is there a standard definition of who an old person is?
Oh, of course, yes. All the countries and mainly the member states of the United Nations, they term an older person in common to be the one at 60 years. But when we come to a particular country, you find some, they are regarding as 65, others 70, and even others 55, depending on individual country. But the UN age margin is 60.
In Kenya, are there any benefits entitled to old people from the government?
Oh, of course, yes, they are. Because we have the National Social Security Fund, we have the premiums within the societies, the companies and such. But for those who did not get a chance to be employed or even well-to-do, what happens? That is why, even as we pushed the government, they came up with a social protection cash transfer for the older persons. I'm happy at least some few of them are getting the cash transfer, but also it's not very well managed because there are still large numbers still waiting. The ones that are benefiting with the cash transfer are only 1.7 million to date. I think this is excluding the people with disability and the vulnerable children. The older people are supposed to get the cash transfer every month, and I have seen this current government trying very hard. But the worst is the systems, because the Ministry of Social Protection comes with a system on how to register, and it is always drawn through the chiefs. When they come to the chiefs, they call for the barasas and the neighbors who could tell this is 70 years, this is not, which is a very bad notion, because I should not be discriminated because of my age, or even why should you know my age? You just call me an elder, you know. Why do we call the identification card a personal national identification card? It's because it's mine. You don't need to know my age, but you can physically see I'm older than you. When we talk of the rights, how often do we abuse the rights? Now, you asked me of the processes of registering. We cannot just wake up and register. It should come from the mother ministry. When they come, they even tell they want a certain number. They are governed by the budgetary allocation from the national government. Therefore, this is why you'll find that in Kenya, there are those who have been benefiting with the cash transfers since 2007 and to date, and there are those who did not get registered that time, and they are not yet registered. There is imbalance and not treated equally. Therefore, I would tell you, much as I appreciate the government steps of benefiting the cash transfer, but also I feel bad that they are not able to go like through the office of identification registration, the personal registration. This is where we get the IDs. Every year, there's a child getting an ID. They are already known. So we are already known by the government. And of course, there is census every 10 years. These census, do they speak as to which age has more than the other? And how do they look at that? Because what is lacking in Kenya is that disaggregated data. I would wish to know in Kenya how many older people are 100 years old. I would wish to know how many older people are 60 years. Does the ministry tell us? Or they just call us adults and they stop at that? So a lot of gaps. Then even those who I'm saying they are benefiting through the cash transfer, you'll find that a big number has been registered, but the system of releasing the money, reaching the older person, you'll find that it is through the bank, and these banks sometimes they don't have the contact to the older person. So they end up keeping the money with them, not taking it back to the government, and the older people continue suffering at the grassroots. It has happened even here in this office, seeing an older person who has been registered, she has the card, she has everything, but whenever they go to the bank, they are told their money is not yet in. How do the government separate some money of individual people from the beneficiaries? You'll find that this is a gap within the service providers. And my worry is always that the mother ministry, or even the treasury itself, once they release the money, do they monitor to make sure the money goes to the targeted beneficiary?
What are some of the major challenges faced by elderly people?
The major is health. Older people, majority of them, they suffer the chronic diseases. By this I mean long-term diseases like diabetic, high blood pressure, kidney problem, arthritis, and even hearing ability gets lost, sometimes mental problem, and these are very expensive diseases which require a lot of money. The other thing is the majority of older people in Kenya, they lack adequate food. They don't eat health. And the Minister of Health is there, but they are not following up with the population. They focus very much in the children. They even can provide milk, powder, but as it is said that we age, we go back like we are children, they don't follow up with the older persons. You'll find the majority of older people, when they go to the hospital, they are not screened in the first place. They are told this is about age. Go and buy, or even they are told to take painkillers. They have died at the hands of the doctors, not screening, not understanding how to treat an older person. This, I take it even to the Minister of Higher Education, where we have our university students undergoing training on geriatrics and gerontologists, but they learn it in school. When they come out of school, they don't practice it because the system does not have the will to age with the older people. Those are the key, I think those can be some of the key challenges the older people have. And when it comes to mobility, older people are social animals as well. They would wish to visit their friends, they would wish to visit their children. And remember when we were in school, we could be given a midterm, and they could always tell us that we are developing homesick. Did anyone told you about what happens to the parents when they develop not seeing you? Could this be stress and even maybe psychological torture? These are things that are overlooked within our country, but they are very essential for well-being of an older person. Look at the Minister of Education now then. We have the Department of Adult Education. Have you ever seen a school for the adults? They are given structures which are not age-friendly. Sometimes they are under the tree. Therefore, it tells me the political goodwill is dead, and they don't want the older people to learn. Now they have brought the new technology. You can learn from your place through a computer or a phone. Who taught the older people about these gadgets? So I feel that much as we implement the Vision 2030, which clarion call is leaving no one behind, I think we are only joking because we have left the older people behind for a long time, and I don't see anything done to improve the quality of life of older persons in terms of education. For example, who owns the land in Kenya? Is it not the majority of older people? Now that they have migrated to new technology, you can do your search through e-Citizen and others. Who trained our parents to go to e-Citizen? Why do we have media in the first place and they cannot teach? The ministry is not concerned. What will happen? Maybe the corruption will start coming, and you'll find much of the lands of only by older people being transferred without their knowledge. The dangers I see in our country.
Is there a country, either in Africa or in the world, that you would say is a good model of how to deal with the elderly?
I would say I've been reading from media, internet and such, and I know Canada could be one of the best. Netherlands are there. Of course UK, they are looking for taking care of their elders, and they know they can even sell their properties and they give to a home where they want to age in. But in Kenya, do we have such? I know in the US, there are home-based caregivers, social workers, who already know which household has an older person, and they take care of them. They take food, they take medicine. Sometimes they are given ability to walk and go and shop. But where is our country? Much as we want to be westernized, do we carry our older people as we go to Western style? I take care of you when you are young, you take care of me when I'm old. But now, with the developed countries, where you find a lot of children going for other countries to work there, then they have alternative, like if they cannot visit their parents every now and then or regularly, then there is a home for the older persons available from the government and registered and recognized that can take care of that older person within the community. That is why we as people fighting for the rights of our older people, we are telling the government it's the high time they start constructing homes for older people and even social places. Like now here, Karika, I call it a social place where they come together, they sit, they exchange, they dance together, they eat together, they go home. Majority of our older people in this country, they are taking care of grandchildren. And the food is not enough. Sometimes you find them, they don't eat enough in the evening, but when they come Karika, they eat a lot. I thank God that we have been able to have Karika here. But what about other parts of the country where they don't even know something like Karika?
The funding for Karika, so that the old people, when they come here, they can eat enough. Where do you get the funding?
I can tell you, many young people, and even Kenyans, they perceive that once you have the NGO, you have donors. That is very wrong. And even telling your mates that you cannot start because you don't have donors is even worse. Why? We don't need donors to come so that we work for our older people. Karika does not have a single donor. For the last 21 years, we have not had any donor. What we do, we partner with other organizations which are like-minded, and they even don't give us money. Sometimes they give us information. But because we have the goodwill and we are campaigning against elder abuse, we depend on people of goodwill. People who can support in one way or the other. Like now here, I have to pay for the electricity, I have to pay for the Wi-Fi, I have to pay for the water, I have to pay for the caretaker, all this and the staffs. I don't have a single donor, but I know one thing. My biggest donor is God. He provides. How? I cannot become a beggar while I'm doing God's work. I will only tell him, here are your people. They worked for the country and they are hungry. God will always provide. But when you depend on donors, they will divert your vision to tell you, this is our money, we want you to go and plant trees. It's okay. But the older people here is going without meals. I've seen organizations coming telling me, let us do 1, 2, 3. I tell them no, my call is on older people. Older people can plant trees, okay, but they would not travel far. You get it? Many donors would come with their money saying we want to do this. But even before you become a servant of the donor, who are you? What is this call that God has given you? Therefore, so many years I've stayed without money. And I'm used to it, that I don't think money is everything. The goodwill and the relationship with the people and the team you are working with is the strength of Karika. Why I said I don't have a donor is because many people would think a donor would keep you moving all the time. But they come, they go. Like for me, I have a donation book. You donate, we write. Sometimes you come once, sometimes you come twice, sometimes you come after 2 years. But we are still moving. I'm a strong believer that small steps, they make the longest journey.
Does the local community support what's happening here?
I would say yes, because one, being accepted within the community, I'm very happy. But if I count on how much I'm getting from them, I will only say the goodwill. But when I have events, I write to the local, like now the banks, the leaders around here, friends of Karika, they give me. Like last Thursday, we were doing now the celebration of the International Day, which is coming tomorrow. And we had over 600 older people here. We cooked for them, we danced, we talked a lot, and then in the evening they took food with them. This was donated, some from the commercial bank, Equity Bank, institutions, private institutions, and even people themselves, individual people. And I'm very grateful that out of the 637 participants here, nobody went home empty-handed. But then issue is, how much was that? It could take them for 2 days or less, but what happens the other days? Here we cook for them. We give them lunch, sometimes lunch and breakfast. But sometimes you find we don't have enough. What do? We opt to do porridge, and then they go. Sometimes they go without food, because if we don't have to steal. We cannot force people to give us. We only report it to God. Maybe then I should tell you, after mobilizing the groups and forming them and even giving them the ability to organize themselves and work among themselves, we then look for people who can support those small groups. A good example is the group outside there. After mobilizing them, we got somebody wanted to support them, buying for them a machine that could do the butternuts, groundnut crushing and making the butternut. Now they are selling outside there. You have seen them. How much they were given? About 78,000. That is good. It makes the group going. These are some of the things we do, and also we work in partnership with the other actors within the community, like hospitals. Like now that day on Thursday, we had a very big medical camp where we were able to mobilize 15 organizations, hospitals, banks, organizations coming together and supporting the activity. One thing I want to suggest for the older people, the government should fulfill the legal framework to protect the older people in our country. That is number one. Number two, it should come with a national policy that guides the counties as to how they protect the rights of older persons at the county level and even at the village level. Just as we had said there before about the UK and the other countries, they have their social workers coming to see the older people in their places. Remember, in our society, there are those women who biologically did not get children. Not because they didn't want, but biologically they could not have their children. Good luck, they did not die young. who takes care of them, even as we perceive that another person goes back to the family. Such women, they are neglected in their family where they come from, and in the society they are isolated. You find that they age themselves without anybody to take care. As a result, I call upon the government to come up with the homes for the older people and the social extension workers who could be going from, like for example, how they have come up with the community health promoters, though they are given a lot of households to check, but can we have social extension officer who would be coming to make sure each and every older person in the house has eaten, has taken the medicines as it is anticipated, because also within the society you'll find a lot of older people, they are on medication, but also they forget because they are developing dementia. Who reminds them, and at what time do they take those medicines? Much as we talk of the family being there, how capable is the family? I've already talked about people dumping their parents. You'll see like today, Nairobi, what is happening today is chasing the older people away from Nairobi by the fact that we are coming up with the tall buildings with no elevators. I've seen Nairobi growing and coming up with the tall buildings. All those children living up there, they have their parents up country. Some at one point they may fall sick, and the building has no elevators, or even if they are there, then the health of an older person does not require him to use the elevator. Sasa kama mzazi ametoka Kenyatta, ametibiwa, ameambiwa kuja kesho, it will bid you umkodishie nyumba, alale nje na wewe ukalale kwa gorofa yako. Is this okay? So we need to think, incorporate and engage all the interested parties. Nimeona within our county and in many counties, they are very much focusing on social places like playgrounds and such. Zenye zote they are based on young generation. Huyu mzee mwenye hana kazi na angetaka kusocialize na mwingine, anaenda wapi? Wanaenda kusocialize wapi? Wazee hawezi enda kanisa, kelele ni mingi. Wazee hawezi enda kwa bar juu bar tena kuna vijana wengi. Mzee hawezi tembelea hata kwa street because vijana wamejaza jua kari zao hapo kwa street. Angalia tu hata walkways zile ziko along the highways, zizote zimekuwa marketplaces. Sasa huyu mzee anapita wapi, akienda wapi? Na unasikia wakimuuliza, wewe mzee unafanya nini Nairobi? Does it mean Nairobi ni ya vijana peke yao? So these are some of the areas we need to counterattack before we age. Better we at our age, because we are aged already, but you guys, when you are coming to this age, I don't know how Kenya will look like. Maybe you'll be umefungiwa kwa nyumba. A good example. I have to say this because it's an experience I'm getting every time. Majority of older people are developing prostate cancer ama those chronic diseases. They become bedridden and they cannot walk. We have the Ministry of Health, we have Department of Sanitation, which has also appears. Go to many houses in the city and even in our households. Utakuta wazazi hawezi enda kwa choo usiku, wanatumia mkebe ama ndoo. Mtu analala na choo kwa nyumba na inanuka, na tuko na Ministry of Health. Sasa huyu shosho wa maguka mwenye ako bedridden, choo yake iko huku nje, akishikwa na haja anaenda wapi? What they have done very poorly as a government ni kuintroduce adult diapers. Na ukiangalia today our city is full of, our estates full of used diapers. Kama jana kulinyesha, unafikiri ni diapers ngapi ziko chafu na zilimwagikiwa na mvua, sasa maji inaelewa chafu. Na sometimes these people have those diseases that are infectious. What could have been done ni to come up with the supplementary toilets which cannot spoil the rooms na asihitaji diapers. Kando na kitanda ya mzee awekewe choo hapo. Hata kama utamshika umupeleke kwa hiyo choo, akijisaidia inaisha. We are not in short of ways to rescue these situations. Lakini unakuta wazee wanakuwa na bed sores, na the best we can get from our professionals ni diapers zenye zinachafua community yetu mpaka tunagojeka magonjwa mingi. I'm very happy with Kenyatta because during his time alituletea mashine za cancer na x-ray na dialysis zote ziko. Kwa nini hatujakuwa na institution ya serikali mkongwe akikosa meno anaweza ripoti pale? Wagonjwa wengi wa Kongo wako na kisukari. Unafukuta mtu amekatwa mguu. Who takes care of that? Si kunafaa kuwa na PS wa health anaangazia mambo ya health ya kila mtu. Kukuwe na institution ya serikali ya kutengeneza hizo miguu za kusaidia wale wazee. Jinsi tuko saa hii na kucha za wamama. Si mama akitaka kucha anaenda kwa duka ananunua. Where do we go for those? And especially even when we lose the ability to hear. Na hii ni ya muhimu sana because you have to move from one point to the other. Wale ambao wanasikia sasa hawasikii vizuri. Katika Ministry of Health, do we have such a department yenye inaweza provide na hizo machines? Na kama iko, do they have those equipments? Na unaona risk ya mzazi anaenda kwa barabara akitaka kwenda kuomba chakula kwa yule mwingine ama kwa watoto wake, na ako kwa barabara na hasikii kelele, atafuka aje? How many have we lost? Who is telling us? Therefore, I would wish you guys, mkifanya hii interview, make sure you deliver to every county kwa governor. Let us challenge them. County assemblies, badala ya kuangazia maendeleo yetu, saa hii ni kupigana. Si sawa? Because we are not engaging them. The reason why I have Karika as it is today here is to show by action what would older people want, or rather what the society would wish to have. So we care for our future, and this is why older people, because they suffer a lot, I emphasize that we as young people, let us don't base our activities on the income we get. Let us base ourselves on the blessings we get instead. A country that does not regard its older citizens have no wisdom. No matter who or what, whether this older person is a disabled person or not, they carry the blessings of our country. Sometimes I even go to the extent of blaming the church. Majority of our church today, they are very noisy. Do they ever understand the older people lose the ability to accommodate those loud voices? As a result, you'll find the churches are losing the older people members. They remain in the houses because how do I go to the church? I get so annoyed because of headache. I give my money, and when I'm going back, I have to buy painkillers for my headache. Why should I not stay home? And even now when at home, they bring the televisions to preach to us. I've seen them developing now M-Pesa number. That tells me they are not seriously preaching the gospel. They are after the money because they are reaching me even when I'm absent. Yes. Do they consider the service they are offering equating to the money they are getting? Actually, when I talk of our country going the wrong direction, I talk at all the levels of development.